So today we are starting a new chapter, talking about vectors in this chapter. And this is still part of chapter 6, but we're kind of breaking chapter 6 up into parts. And so this part just about vectors. And vectors, well, you know what? Let's introduce it this way.
Hey. I'm applying for a new villain loan. Go by the name of Vector. It's a mathematical term, a quantity represented by an arrow with both direction and magnitude. Vector! That's me, because I'm committing crimes with both direction and magnitude. Oh yeah! Check out my new weapon. Piranha gun! Oh yes! Fires live piranhas. Ever seen one before? No, you haven't. I invented it. Do you want a demonstration? Oh! Ah! Gosh, it's so difficult sometimes to get the piranha back inside of me. Woo!
So nice classic little movie, Despicable Me there. So a vector, which is, he said it perfectly. So a vector is a quantity that's represented by an arrow with both, anybody? Direction and magnitude. All right, so when you draw a vector, it looks like this here. And if you go back to geometry, you would have called that a ray because it had an endpoint, it had an arrow at the other end. But in geometry, this arrow indicated that it goes on forever. That is not the case here. The arrow on this one is just indicating that the vector is headed this direction, kind of towards the first quadrant, versus going this direction towards the third quadrant. So it has a distinct length. That length is called the magnitude. So that arrow does not indicate it keeps going. So it has a distinct direction and a distinct magnitude. Now, the magnitude can represent different things. It might represent force. It might represent speed. There's different values that that magnitude will represent, and we'll do different problems like that. When you draw a vector, you look at the beginning and the end. So it starts here. This is called the tail, and it goes towards the head here. That's the head of the vector, indicating that's the direction we're headed. So when we draw, okay, so today we're doing geometric vectors. So this isn't really even in your textbook, but I always feel like having a good visual of vectors kind of helps us as we move forward and look at them more algebraically in the next few days. So today we're going to draw out vectors, and we're going to draw them what we call a tip to tail, where one vector ends, the next one begins, and where that one ends, the next one begins, the next one begins. So it's kind of, we call that tip to tail vector. And I think maybe the easiest way is to kind of just jump in and start doing some. You should have your homework sheet. There's 11 problems there. I'm going to do 3 of them with you, and then the other 8 are for your homework. It doesn't matter what order they're in. You're just going to put these on notebook paper, and you may use 7 pieces of paper, but you might try to squeeze it all into 1 piece of paper. I don't care, but you've got to make sure they all fit on paper, so don't get crazy about trying to squeeze them all in too tightly. So you're grabbing out your homework sheet that shows the 11 problems, and you're grabbing out a piece of notebook paper, and you need a ruler and a protractor. So once you have all of that stuff, then come on back.